Welcome to our channel. In today's video, we'll delve into the mysterious and fascinating world of fallen angels. Who are these enigmatic beings? What roles do they play in various religious texts and mythologies? Join us as we explore the origins, stories, and significance of these celestial outcasts. From their rebellion in heaven to their impact on humanity, we'll uncover the hidden truths and ancient legends surrounding fallen angels. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more intriguing insights into the supernatural and divine. Let's embark on this journey together. Lucifer. The story of Lucifer's fall is not explicitly detailed in the Bible, but it is pieced together from various passages in both the Old and New Testaments. Two key scriptural references are often cited in relation to Lucifer's fall: Isaiah 14 verses 12 to 15 and Ezekiel 28 verses 12 to 17. Isaiah 14 verses 12 to 15. In Isaiah 14 verses 12 to 15, the text addresses the king of Babylon, but it is often interpreted as a dual reference to both a historical figure and a supernatural being. The passage reads, "How you have fallen from heaven, morning star, son of the dawn! You have been cast down to the earth, you who once laid low the nations. You said in your heart, I will ascend to the heavens, I will raise my throne above the stars of God, I will sit enthroned on the mount of assembly, on the utmost heights of Mount Zaphan. I will ascend above the tops of the clouds, I will make myself like the Most High. But you are brought down to the realm of the dead, to the depths of the pit." The term morning star, often translated as Lucifer in the Latin Vulgate, is seen as a reference to the pride and eventual downfall of this angelic being. Ezekiel 28 verses 12 to 17. Similarly, Ezekiel 28 verses 12 to 17, which is addressed to the king of Tyre, is also interpreted as a description of Lucifer. You were the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. You were in Eden, the garden of God, every precious stone adorned you, a carnelian, chrysolite and emerald, topaz, onyx and jasper, lapis lazuli, turquoise and beryl. Your settings and mountings were made of gold, on the day you were created they were prepared. You were anointed as a guardian cherub, for so I ordained you. You were on the holy mount of God, you walked among the fiery stones. You were blameless in your ways from the day you were created till wickedness was found in you. Through your widespread trade you were filled with violence, and you sinned. So I drove you in disgrace from the mount of God, and I expelled you, guardian cherub, from among the fiery stones. Your heart became proud on account of your beauty, and you corrupted your wisdom because of your splendor. So I threw you to the earth, I made a spectacle of you before kings." Here, the imagery of a perfect, beautiful, and wise being who becomes corrupt and is cast down fits the traditional narrative of Lucifer's fall from grace. New Testament references. In the New Testament, Jesus refers to the fall of Satan in Luke 10 verse 18, "I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven." While this passage does not mention Lucifer by name, it is often interpreted as a reference to the same event, connecting Lucifer's fall with Satan. Theological interpretations and development. Early Christian theologians, such as St. Augustine and St. Jerome, elaborated on these biblical references, developing a more detailed account of Lucifer's rebellion and fall. They posited that Lucifer, originally a high-ranking and beautiful angel, became consumed with pride and desired to overthrow God. This led to a cosmic battle, after which Lucifer and his followers were cast out of heaven and became demons. St. Augustine. St. Augustine, in his work City of God, argued that the fall of Lucifer was a result of his pride and his desire to be equal to God. Augustine saw this rebellion as the first instance of sin, which introduced evil into the world. St. Jerome. St. Jerome, who translated the Bible into Latin, the Vulgate, used the term Lucifer to translate the Hebrew word Helel in Isaiah 14 verse 12. This translation cemented the association of Lucifer with the fallen angel narrative in Western Christianity. Medieval and Renaissance literature. The story of Lucifer as a fallen angel was further popularized and embellished in medieval and Renaissance literature. One of the most famous depictions is in John Milton's epic poem Paradise Lost, 1667. Paradise Lost. In Paradise Lost, Milton provides a detailed and dramatic account of Lucifer's rebellion and fall. He portrays Lucifer as a tragic figure, a once glorious angel whose ambition and pride lead to his downfall. The famous line spoken by Lucifer, "Satan, better to reign in hell than serve in heaven," encapsulate his rebellious spirit and defiance. Milton's Lucifer is a complex character, embodying both the grandeur of his former angelic state and the bitterness of his fallen condition. This portrayal has had a lasting impact on Western literature and art, influencing countless depictions of Lucifer and Satan. Symbolism and iconography. Lucifer's fall from grace has also been a rich source of symbolism and iconography in Christian art. The image of the fallen angel, often depicted as a beautiful but tragic figure, symbolizes the dangers of pride and the consequences of rebellion against divine authority. Artistic depictions. In art, Lucifer is often shown as a majestic angel cast down from the heights of heaven. This imagery can be found in medieval illuminated manuscripts, Renaissance paintings, and sculptures. Artists like Gustave Doré and William Blake created memorable illustrations of Lucifer's fall, emphasizing his tragic grandeur and the dramatic nature of his rebellion. Theological implications. The story of Lucifer's fall has profound theological implications. It serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of pride and the consequences of defying God. It also provides a framework for understanding the existence of evil and suffering in the world. In Christian thought, Lucifer's rebellion introduced sin and chaos into the created order, setting the stage for the redemptive work of Christ. Lucifer in comparative religion. While the story of Lucifer as a fallen angel is primarily a Christian narrative, parallels can be found in other religious traditions. Judaism. In Judaism, the figure of Satan, or Ha-Satan, the accuser, appears in texts such as the Book of Job. However, the concept of Satan as a fallen angel is less emphasized, and there is no direct equivalent to the Christian narrative of Lucifer. Islam. In Islam, the story of Iblis, or Shaitan, bears similarities to the narrative of Lucifer. Iblis was a jinn who refused to bow to Adam and was cast out of heaven as a result. The Quran describes Iblis as being filled with pride and arrogance, much like the Christian Lucifer. Modern interpretations and cultural impact. In modern times, the figure of Lucifer has been reinterpreted and appropriated in various ways, reflecting changing cultural attitudes and philosophical perspectives. Literature and media. Lucifer appears in contemporary literature, films, and television shows, often portrayed as a complex and charismatic character. For example, the television series Lucifer, based on a comic book series by Neil Gaiman, depicts Lucifer as a suave and charming anti-hero who runs a nightclub in Los Angeles and assists the police in solving crimes. Philosophy and psychology. In some modern philosophical and psychological interpretations, Lucifer represents the human struggle with ambition, pride, and the desire for autonomy. The story of his fall can be seen as an allegory for the challenges of individualism and the consequences of hubris. Satanism and counterculture. Lucifer has also been embraced as a symbol of rebellion and anti-establishment sentiment in various countercultural movements. In some forms of Satanism, Lucifer is revered as a symbol of enlightenment, individualism, and resistance to oppressive authority. Beelzebub. The name Beelzebub is derived from the Hebrew Beelzebub, which translates to Lord of the Flies. This term is believed to be a derogatory play on the name Beelzebul, meaning Lord of the High Place, or Lord of Heaven. Beel was a prominent deity in Canaanite religion, often associated with fertility, storms, and agriculture. However, as monotheism took hold in ancient Israel, Baal and other deities of the surrounding regions were demonized, and their names were transformed to reflect their fall from divine status. In the Hebrew Bible, Beelzebub is mentioned in 2 Kings 1 verses 2-3, where King Ahaziah of Israel seeks an oracle from Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron. The prophet Elijah intercepts this inquiry, condemning the king for seeking guidance from a pagan god instead of Yahweh. This association with a pagan deity laid the groundwork for Beelzebub's later demonization in Christian theology. Beelzebub in Christian theology. Beelzebub's transition from a pagan god to a demon in Christian thought was influenced by the early church's efforts to establish a clear dichotomy between good and evil. By demonizing the gods of other cultures, the church reinforced the supremacy of the Christian God and the malevolence of any opposition. In the New Testament, Beelzebub is mentioned in the Gospels of Matthew 12:24-27, Mark 3:22-26, and Luke 11:15-19. The Pharisees accused Jesus of casting out demons by the power of Beelzebub, the prince of demons. Jesus refutes this accusation by pointing out the illogical nature of Satan casting out Satan, thereby undermining the Pharisees' claim. This passage solidifies Beelzebub's association with Satan and positions him as a prominent figure in the hierarchy of hell. The hierarchy of hell. Demonologists and theologians have long debated the hierarchy of hell and the specific roles of various demons within it. Beelzebub is often depicted as one of the chief demons, second only to Satan himself. In John Milton's Paradise Lost, Beelzebub is portrayed as Satan's closest ally and the chief lieutenant in the rebellion against God. This depiction emphasizes his intelligence, cunning, and persuasive abilities, traits that make him a formidable adversary. In other demonological texts, Beelzebub is described as the lord of all flies, a symbol of decay and corruption. His dominion over pests and filth underscores his association with moral and spiritual decay, making him a fitting representative of the fallen angels who rebelled against divine order. Attributes and powers. Beelzebub's attributes and powers are varied and complex, reflecting his multifaceted role as a fallen angel. As the prince of demons, he wields considerable influence over other demonic entities and is often invoked in rituals and exorcisms. His association with flies and decay symbolizes his ability to corrupt and destroy, spreading disease and chaos wherever he goes. In artistic and literary depictions, Beelzebub is often shown as a grotesque figure, embodying the horror and repulsion associated with demonic forces. He is sometimes depicted with insect-like features, emphasizing his connection to filth and pestilence. In other portrayals, he appears as a regal yet sinister figure, reflecting his high rank among the fallen angels. Beelzebub in literature and popular culture. Beelzebub's influence extends beyond religious texts into literature, art, and popular culture. In addition to Milton's Paradise Lost, he appears in various works of fiction and folklore, often as a symbol of ultimate evil and corruption. In Goethe's Faust, Beelzebub is one of the demons summoned by Mephistopheles, representing the power and temptation of the infernal realm. His presence in such works underscores his enduring role as a personification of malevolent forces and a reminder of the consequences of straying from divine order. In modern popular culture, Beelzebub continues to captivate audiences. He appears in movies, television shows, and video games, often as a powerful antagonist. These portrayals, while varied, consistently emphasize his cunning, malevolence, and ability to manipulate and corrupt. Psychological and symbolic interpretations. Beyond his role as a literal demon, Beelzebub can be seen as a symbol of the darker aspects of human nature. His association with corruption, decay, and moral degradation serves as a reminder of the potential for evil within each individual. This symbolic interpretation aligns with Carl Jung's concept of the shadow, the unconscious part of the psyche that contains repressed and undesirable traits. By confronting and understanding the figure of Beelzebub, individuals can gain insight into their own inner struggles and the temptations that lead them away from moral and spiritual integrity. This psychological perspective adds depth to Beelzebub's character, making him not just a figure of fear, but also a mirror for self-reflection. The role of Beelzebub in exorcism and spiritual warfare. Beelzebub's prominence in the hierarchy of hell makes him a central figure in the practices of exorcism and spiritual warfare. In Christian tradition, exorcisms are performed to expel demonic entities from individuals believed to be possessed. Beelzebub, as a high-ranking demon, is often invoked during these rituals, and his expulsion is seen as a significant victory over the forces of darkness. The rituals and prayers associated with exorcism reflect the belief in the tangible presence of evil and the power of faith to overcome it. Beelzebub's role in these practices underscores his status as a formidable adversary and a symbol of the ongoing struggle between good and evil. Beelzebub in comparative religion. While Beelzebub is primarily known within the context of Judeo-Christian tradition, parallels can be drawn between him and similar figures in other religious and mythological systems. Many cultures have deities or spirits associated with decay, corruption, and pestilence, reflecting a universal understanding of these destructive forces. For example, in Hindu mythology, the deity Kali is associated with death and destruction, though she also embodies transformative power and regeneration. Similarly, in ancient Egyptian religion, the god Set represents chaos and disorder, opposing the harmonious order upheld by Osiris. These comparative perspectives highlight the common themes and archetypes that appear across different cultures and religious traditions. Beelzebub, as a fallen angel and symbol of corruption, fits into this broader context of mythological figures representing the darker aspects of existence. Azazel. The name Azazel appears primarily in the Hebrew Bible, specifically in the book of Leviticus 16:8-10, 26, where it is connected to the Day of Atonement rituals. The term Azazel is somewhat ambiguous and has been subject to different interpretations. Some scholars suggest that it could mean the strong one against God, or the one who removes, while others propose it might derive from a combination of Hebrew words meaning goat and departure. In Leviticus, Azazel is mentioned in the context of the scapegoat ritual during Yom Kippur. 2 goats are chosen, one is sacrificed to God, and the other, bearing the sins of the people, is sent into the wilderness for Azazel. This has led to various interpretations about Azazel's nature and role, ranging from a wilderness demon to a symbol of the expulsion of sin. Azazel in Jewish tradition. In Jewish tradition, Azazel's character becomes more defined in the intertestamental literature, especially in the Book of Enoch. The Book of Enoch is part of the pseudepigrapha, texts attributed to biblical figures but not included in the canonical scriptures. This text provides a detailed narrative about Azazel's fall from grace. In the Book of Enoch, Azazel is one of the leaders of the Watchers, a group of angels who descended to earth to marry human women and teach humanity forbidden knowledge. This act of transgression led to significant consequences. Rebellion against divine order. Azazel and the other Watchers rebelled against the divine order by mingling with humans, thus corrupting the purity of both the celestial and terrestrial realms. Teaching forbidden knowledge, Azazel is often specifically credited with teaching humans various skills and knowledge that were not meant for them, including metalworking, weapon-making, cosmetics, and other secrets that led to the corruption of humankind. This knowledge brought about violence and moral decay. Divine punishment. As a result of these actions, Azazel and the Watchers were severely punished. According to the Book of Enoch, Azazel was bound and cast into a pit in the desert, where he would remain until the final judgment. His punishment symbolizes the consequences of defying divine commands and corrupting creation. Christian interpretations. Early Christian writers adopted and adapted Jewish traditions about Azazel, incorporating them into their own theological frameworks. The concept of fallen angels, including Azazel, became intertwined with Christian demonology and the understanding of evil. In Christian literature, Azazel is often equated with Satan or Lucifer, though not always directly. The story of Azazel's fall parallels that of Lucifer's rebellion against God, as described in Isaiah 14 verses 12 to 15 and Ezekiel 28 verses 12 to 17, where a high-ranking angel is cast out of heaven due to pride and rebellion. Symbol of sin and atonement, the scapegoat ritual's association with Azazel influenced Christian interpretations of atonement and redemption. Just as the goat for Azazel carried away the sins of the people, Christ's sacrificial death was seen as carrying away the sins of humanity. Source of evil knowledge, the notion of Azazel teaching forbidden knowledge aligns with Christian ideas about the source of evil and corruption. This knowledge led humanity away from God's intended path, echoing the biblical narrative of the fall in Genesis, where the serpent, often identified with Satan, tempts Eve with forbidden knowledge. Apocalyptic literature. In apocalyptic literature, such as the Book of Revelation, fallen angels, including figures like Azazel, play a significant role in the end times. They are depicted as active agents in the cosmic struggle between good and evil, ultimately facing divine judgment and eternal punishment. Islamic perspectives. Azazel is not a prominent figure in Islamic tradition, but there are some references and parallels that can be drawn. In Islam, the story of the fall of Iblis, Satan, bears similarities to the narratives about Azazel and Lucifer. Iblis and the rebellion. Iblis, a jinn who refused to bow to Adam, was cast out of heaven and became Satan. This story, found in the Quran, parallels the rebellion and fall of Azazel as described in Jewish and Christian texts. Source of temptation. Like Azazel, Iblis is considered a source of temptation and evil, leading humans away from God's path. However, the emphasis in Islamic tradition is more on Iblis's role as a tempter rather than a teacher of forbidden knowledge. Modern interpretations and cultural impact. Azazel's character has transcended religious texts and entered popular culture, where he is depicted in various forms of media, including literature, films, and television shows. These modern interpretations often draw on his traditional roles as a fallen angel, a teacher of forbidden knowledge, and a symbol of rebellion against divine authority. Literature and fiction. Azazel appears in numerous fictional works, where his character is often expanded and reimagined. For example, in Neil Gaiman's The Sandman series, Azazel is a demon lord, and in Rick Riordan's Percy Jackson series, he is portrayed as a malevolent entity. Film and television. In visual media, Azazel is depicted in various ways, from a demonic villain in the TV series Supernatural to a powerful antagonist in the X-Men film series. These portrayals often highlight his sinister nature and his role as a corrupter of humanity. Symbol of rebellion. In contemporary discussions, Azazel is sometimes used symbolically to represent rebellion against oppressive systems or norms, drawing on his mythological role as a figure who defied divine authority. Theological and philosophical discussions. Azazel's narrative also raises significant theological and philosophical questions about the nature of sin, free will, and divine justice. The problem of evil. Azazel's role in bringing forbidden knowledge to humanity is often discussed in the context of the Odyssey, the problem of evil. Why would a benevolent God allow such a being to corrupt creation? This question has been debated by theologians for centuries. Human responsibility. The story of Azazel and the Watchers highlights the tension between divine foreknowledge and human, or angelic, free will. While Azazel and the Watchers chose to rebel, their actions had profound consequences for humanity, raising questions about the interplay between celestial and terrestrial realms. Redemption and atonement. Azazel's association with the scapegoat ritual underscores themes of redemption and atonement. The notion that sins can be transferred and atoned for through sacrifice has been central to both Jewish and Christian theology, influencing doctrines of salvation and repentance. Belial. The name Belial is derived from the Hebrew term Belial, which can be translated to mean worthless, without value, or lawlessness. In the Hebrew Bible, Belial is not initially identified as a specific being but rather as a personification of wickedness and rebellion against God. The term appears in several Old Testament passages, often used to describe individuals who are corrupt, immoral, or engaged in idolatrous practices. For instance, in Deuteronomy 13 verse 13, the term sons of Belial refers to those who lead others into idolatry. Similarly, in 1 Samuel 2 verse 12, the sons of Eli are described as sons of Belial for their sinful behavior. In these contexts, Belial is a symbol of moral decay and opposition to divine authority, rather than a distinct fallen angel. Belial in Jewish apocryphal and pseudepigraphal texts. The transformation of Belial from a symbol of wickedness to a distinct demonic entity occurs primarily in Jewish apocryphal and pseudepigraphal literature. These non-canonical texts, written between the intertestamental period, 200 BCE, 200 CE, expand on the narratives of fallen angels and demonic beings. One of the key texts that elaborate on Belial's role is the Book of Jubilees, also known as a Little Genesis. In Jubilees 1:20, Belial is depicted as a powerful and malevolent spirit who leads astray the sons of Noah, causing them to commit sins and defy God's commandments. This portrayal marks a significant shift from the earlier biblical usage, presenting Belial as a specific entity with a direct influence on humanity. Another important source is the Testament of the 12 Patriarchs, a collection of ethical teachings attributed to the 12 sons of Jacob. In the Testament of the 12 Patriarchs, Belial is frequently mentioned as the adversary of righteousness. For example, in the Testament of Levi, Belial is described as the spirit of deceit who corrupts the hearts of men, Testament of Levi 3:3. In the Testament of the 12 Patriarchs, Belial represents the antithesis of divine order, embodying chaos and moral corruption. Belial in the Dead Sea Scrolls. The Dead Sea Scrolls, a collection of Jewish texts discovered in the Qumran caves near the Dead Sea, provide further insights into the figure of Belial. The scrolls, which date from the 2nd century BCE to the 1st century CE, include numerous references to Belial as a leader of the forces of darkness. In the War Scroll 1QM, one of the key texts found among the Dead Sea Scrolls, Belial is depicted as the commander of the forces of evil in the eschatological battle between the sons of light and the sons of darkness. This apocalyptic narrative describes a final, cosmic struggle in which Belial and his followers are ultimately defeated by the forces of righteousness. The War Scroll emphasizes Belial's role as an adversary to God's people, highlighting his association with demonic forces and his opposition to divine justice. Another significant text is the Community Rule 1QS, which outlines the beliefs and practices of the Qumran community. In this document, Belial is identified as the leader of the dominion of darkness and the ultimate source of impurity and sin. The Community Rule describes a dualistic worldview in which Belial's influence is contrasted with the spirit of truth and righteousness. This dualism underscores the ongoing spiritual conflict between good and evil, with Belial serving as a central antagonist. Belial in Christian demonology. Belial's transition into Christian demonology is influenced by these earlier Jewish texts, as well as the development of Christian theological doctrines. In the New Testament, the name Belial, or Beliar, appears once, in 2 Corinthians 6 verse 15, where the Apostle Paul rhetorically asks, "What concordeth Christ with Belial?" Here, Belial is used as a synonym for Satan, representing the ultimate antithesis of Christ. Early Christian writers and theologians expanded on this identification, incorporating Belial into the broader framework of fallen angels and demonic hierarchies. The 4th century Christian poet Prudentius, in his work Psychomachia, The Battle of Souls, personifies Belial as a demonic force leading humanity into vice and moral corruption. This portrayal aligns with the earlier Jewish depictions of Belial as a corrupting influence and adversary of righteousness. Medieval Christian demonologists further developed Belial's role, often placing him among the upper echelons of hell's hierarchy. In the influential grimoire The Lesser Key of Solomon, Belial is listed as a powerful demon who commands legions of infernal spirits. This text, which compiles various traditions of demonology and magic, describes Belial as a king of hell who appears in the form of two beautiful angels riding in a chariot of fire. Despite his initial appearance of beauty and splendor, Belial is ultimately a deceiver who seeks to lead souls astray. Belial in literature and popular culture. Belial's enduring legacy extends beyond religious texts into literature, art, and popular culture. In John Milton's epic poem Paradise Lost, Belial is portrayed as one of the fallen angels who joined Satan's rebellion against God. Milton's Belial is characterized by his persuasive eloquence and deceptive charm, qualities that make him a dangerous tempter of humanity. This literary depiction reflects the traditional view of Belial as a cunning and manipulative adversary. In modern popular culture, Belial continues to appear as a symbol of evil and corruption. He is featured in various works of fiction, including novels, movies, and video games. For example, in the Diablo video game series, Belial is one of the primary antagonists, depicted as the Lord of Lies who manipulates and deceives to achieve his goals. This contemporary portrayal draws on the traditional attributes of Belial as a master of deceit and a corrupting force. Theological interpretations and symbolism. The figure of Belial, as a fallen angel and demonic entity, holds significant symbolic meaning in both Jewish and Christian traditions. Theologically, Belial represents the forces of chaos and disorder that oppose God's divine order. His role as an instigator of rebellion and corruption underscores the ongoing spiritual struggle between good and evil, a central theme in Judeo-Christian thought. Belial's association with lawlessness and worthlessness highlights the moral dimension of his character. He embodies the rejection of divine authority and the embrace of selfishness and immorality. This symbolism serves as a warning against the dangers of straying from the path of righteousness and succumbing to the temptations of sin. Moreover, Belial's depiction as a leader of demonic forces emphasizes the collective nature of evil in religious cosmology. He is not merely an individual fallen angel, but a representative of the broader demonic hierarchy that opposes God's kingdom. This collective aspect underscores the pervasive and insidious nature of evil, which operates through various agents and manifestations. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed learning about fallen angels, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more intriguing explorations into ancient mysteries and biblical lore. Hit the bell icon to stay updated on our latest uploads. Have thoughts or questions? Drop them in the comments below, we love hearing from you. For more in-depth discussions, join our community on social media link. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the unknown. See you in the next video.